Good night, everybody. Welcome to this session of Are You Ready to Teach Online? Today we will talk about some things that are important, and it's like the backstage of your online course or class. One thing that I should emphasize is that teaching an online course, as I had said in the first session of this series, is different from teaching a face-to-face course. So you have to take that into consideration when you start planning your course. As in any setting, you have to clearly define what are your learning objectives. And when I say learning objectives, I mean you should define what the student will be able to do after taking your online course or your class. An error that we see frequently among teachers is that, or trainers and online people that teach or train persons and face-to-face, is that many of them don't know how to state learning objectives. A learning objective is state from the student's perspective. That is, it must tell us what the students will be able to do after our course, our class, our session. It's not a learning objective is not what you're going to do during the class. It's not the activities that you're going to present for your student. Those are not learning objectives. Those are educational activities. Those are maybe teaching objectives, but they are not learning objectives. So the first thing that you must take into consideration is what are the objectives, the learning objectives that you want to achieve with your students. And once that you know that very clearly, once you define that, then you have to adapt them to an online setting. Why? Because it's not the same thing when you have your students in front of you. You get immediate feedback from them. In an online setting, you don't have that immediate feedback. So you have to rely in lots more of activities. You have to rely in a careful planning of all the activities and resources that you're going to use during your online class so that your student will be able to achieve those objectives. Now, it's very important to understand and to know that if you're nervous, if you're anxious, if you're uncertain of the future, your student is feeling exactly the same. He's also nervous because this is a media that he doesn't know or that he usually uses for amusement and Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, whatever social network he uses. He's also anxious because he doesn't know what's going to happen with his school, with his course, with his school year. And he's nervous and uncertain about the future with this fear that we're feeling right now. So it's important that you take that into consideration. Students in this kind of settings, especially now, need a very, very carefully planned support system to help them achieve their learning objectives. They also might be on some step of a learning curve or a learning staircase. So you have to help them. And we love to use the Everest Analogy. Here at the bottom of the picture is base camp. That's the place where mountain climbers start their ascent in Mount Everest. And up here Here is the summit. But mountain climbers don't get to the summit in one day. They first go to base camp and they spend about a month there getting used to the altitude, to the lack of oxygen, to the temperature, to all the physical aspects of being at that high altitude. What happens? They start going through several camps as they climb the mountain. So they take about 1 week to climb to camp 1, and then they start climbing to different camps before reaching the summit. That's exactly what happens with your students, and especially in an online setting. Your students need more time, they need more support, they need a system that helps them reach their goal. And it's important that you design your classes, design your course with that in mind. It's not the same as teaching face-to-face. So you have to design that support system. All the activities must be designed with the main focus of helping your student achieve their goals of reaching the summit. And that's very important for you to take into consideration. They might have to climb through different stages of learning objectives. We don't know in which stage they are. So we must take that into consideration and assume that many of them are in the lower stages of this staircase and that they need to go step by step until they reach the final or the highest step. So it's important that you help them and you identify where are they located, and then you can help them reach and climb to higher levels in each session. So it's very important that you take that into consideration. Once you know your learning objectives, once you know how you're going to take them, you should plan your sessions. And you should have a session plan, a minute-by-minute session plan. Because in an online setting, it's important for you to account for every minute that you have with them. It's not the same as when you're face-to-face. When you're face-to-face, you have more laxity, it's flexibility, but when you are on an online setting, you don't have that flexibility, you don't have that laxity, so you have to have every minute by minute, all the activities, all the resources, everything that you're gonna need to teach your students, to help them achieve their learning objectives. So it's very important. Many teachers that we know don't like this stage of online teaching, or maybe even of face-to-face teaching. But what we tell them is once you get into the habit of defining and identifying and stating your learning objectives, and if they're clearly stated, then it will be very easy for you to plan all the activities that you will need to achieve those objectives. So we invite you, take a dive into your objectives, plan your session, support your students, and I'm sure you will be successful in your online classes. Once again, if you need to contact us, send us a text message to that phone number that you see right there on top. Contact us through our Facebook page, our Instagram account, on Twitter, or visit our website, and we will be glad to help you. If you need further help, you need to ask us a question, please don't hesitate to do it. We're here to help you in this transition during this situation that we're living with COVID-19 throughout the world. So we hope this helps you. Have a nice day. Take care and stay home. See you next time. Bye.